You are listening to Gameday Tarps podcast with Riley, Dakota, and Dallas.
Welcome back to episode 25 of Gameday Tarps podcast. How are we doing today, gentlemen? Trades have begun.
Pretty decent.
Waiting for the big ones, boss.
Exactly, waiting for the big ones. Let's start off with maybe the biggest news outside of the trades, though. Let's talk about Matt Rempe, 6'8", 240-pound New York Ranger, whose first 4 games he got in 3 fights and scored a goal. He fought Matt Martin, Nick Delorier, and Matthew Olivier. Let's break it down, boys. What do you think about fighting kind of being revived in these heavyweights coming right at him saying, hey, let's get this going?
For me, I understand the hype around it. You definitely want to see it, but you also don't want to see him doing it every day. He's a young kid. He could potentially ruin his career early being a guy that's going to be fighting all the time. I mean, as a fan, you love to see it, but from a team perspective, he needs to slow down a little bit and just enjoy his time in the NHL.
It's almost a mirror situation with Rempe, like we got with Arbor Jacki coming to the league. I'm the new kid on the block. I'm a tough guy, but kudos to both of them, for starting their careers off with a bang. Trying to solidify their position in the NHL. Like, I'm going to be the tough guy here, and I'm going to do whatever my team needs me to do. I'm going to get out there gritty. I'm going to be tough. I am going to be rough as well, and I'm going to fight anyone who I don't care if you're Tom Wilson or Delorier or anybody. Like, he'll go after the biggest guy out there, and it's got a lot of guts and heart. Rempe's a good guy. I mean, he was a tough opponent when he was playing with the Seattle Thunderbirds. Got to see him a few times here in Kamloops. So, yeah, he's a tough customer, and he'll probably have a heck of a career if he continues fighting. He'll probably go after the next big guy coming in.
Yeah, and I know I was talking to you guys a little bit about this, but I think it's time, right? He's had his first week in the NHL, whatever. It's time for Trouba to step in, say, all right, pick your spots here, kid. Like, you don't have to fight everyone that asks. And I heard one of the greatest, I forget who it was, but they said today, like, his mentality should be like, why should I fight you now? He's fought Nick Delorier. He's fought Matt Martin. Like, if some scrub comes up to him, some fourth liner who's not a big name, like Ryan Reeves or something, like Ryan Reeves is the big name. But if it's not a big name guy that wants to fight him, he should be like, no, why should I fight you? Like, look who I fought. Like, I'm not wasting my time with you. So he already has that leverage to say, why would I waste my time with you? And he should use it. And Trouba should be stepping in saying, all right, we got guys on this team. We got Barclay Goodrow. He can fight. He's like, I'll step up if I have to. There's other guys who on this Rangers team that can fight. Don't think you have to every time you step on the ice. Try and just play your game, but don't get hurt. Because if we saw his face is just destroyed, bruised, cut. He doesn't even look like himself a week ago. So, and Matthew Olivier tuned him. And I heard that reporters asking Matthew Olivier, like, oh, what was your secret versus him? And like he said, oh, I'm not going to tell you. But it was pretty clear. He just punched way faster than Matt Rempe could react. He just went like a rabbit, just flying punches. So, I mean, now that guys know that they just have to go fast, I mean, he might not be able to continue his great fighting career for some faster guys.
I want to see him go after Nick Cousins.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
just humble him real quick. Just humble Nick Cousins.
You know what? You mentioned Tom Wilson. Tom Wilson wouldn't fight him because Tom Wilson's never fought a heavyweight, really. Like, I know he has fought Reeves and stuff, but, like, he always says no for most of the time. And then same with, like, Nick Cousins isn't going to do anything. Like, there's just too – like, Ryan Lomberg, though. Ryan Lomberg's, like, 5'8", and he would definitely go against Rempe. That would be a hilarious fight. That's a whole foot difference between the two. Just see Lomberg swinging uppercuts because he literally is just punching straight up. That'd be hilarious. But now, I mentioned this to you guys, and I am angry to hear this. So, we saw the best college hockey fight in history the other day, where the two players, I said this to you guys off camera, when are we going to get a fight where the guys are in the penalty box, they leave their gear in the box, they just go out and they drop them, right? That's what happened. College hockey, they left the helmets because they have cages. They left their gloves. They left their stick, everything in the box. Went out, had a fight. This is obviously an automatic game misconduct, and a suspension follows that. Probably more of an suspension from the NCAA would have came because they didn't put their gear on. They had this amazing fight. They went at it. Awesome to see because college hockey never gets this. And then you know what I hear today on Spit and Chicklets? Those coaches of each team suspended those kids the remainder of the year. Each coach basically kicked them off the team for that. And I'm like, their goal is to
That's
go
brutal.
pro. You're in a college hockey program. Like Ed Biz went off. He was saying like the stuff that he would have given these boys like for doing that would have been incredible. He would have been I'm not even going to repeat what he said. Go find their clip if you want to, because he was giving these boys everything like in a positive way. He was saying like he would have been pumping these guys up, and like, yeah, I'm frustrated to hear that, because maybe these guys are in college to get an education, but their role is a tough guy. Why can't they show it in college? They know the rules. It comes with a suspension. So be it.
Yeah, I mean, I got nothing really to add on that, but it definitely sucks, though. For because they're NCAA, right?
Yeah.
So you'd have to like technically pay to play hockey there, or no? I guess scholarships.
You can get a full ride, but yeah. Some of them are probably paying a good chunk.
I mean, I think it would more so suck if these guys are rookies than they would be seniors. You know,
Mm-hmm.
at least senior, you'd know that that's your last year. I feel like if you're a rookie, I think that would just sting a little bit more, though. You know.
Yeah, I don't know. I think either way, it's just. Yeah, I think if it's a senior, it's worse. It's like that was it. Like that was your final hurrah. Like you had one fight, your only fight in college, and you got kicked off the team essentially. Like
Hockey's just getting soft, man. I'm getting tired of this shit.
I tell you this: if they're not seniors, hit that transfer button. See you later. I'm not staying at this school. I could never go back to a coach who kicked me off the team for a fight when it's built into the game of hockey. Like, I mean, no, you're a joke, buddy. Like, get out of here. See, and the fact that both coaches did it, like, what did they do? Get together and have, or did NCAA come together and say, here's the options, this, and this, or you can suspend them? Because it's weird how both coaches suspended them for the remainder of the year. Maybe the NCAA was going to come down with indefinite suspensions if the teams didn't do anything. But either way, it's just a joke. But I'm definitely hitting that trend, unless it is the coaches saying, hey, we protected you by doing this. Like the NCAA was going to come down super hard on you guys.
Well, then the NCAA is soft then. Like,
Oh, they are.
a component of hockey, like, okay, fighting's been around for how long, boys? Like, this generation now is getting softer and softer now, okay? It's part of the game. Leave it alone, all right? You know, they know what they sign up for.
Hockey.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. You know, everybody who plays hockey knows what they sign up for. Fighting is involved, okay? It's not like they're going to maliciously go beat them to death out there, okay? You know, throw a couple haymakers, call her a day.
Explain that to the queue, buddy.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, they're soft. They are soft.
They'll be the first CHL team to wear cages. CHL league to wear cages. Guaranteed. It's coming.
Then they're going to have to, then they're going to up the padding. You know, got to really, like, you know, next thing you know, they'll probably wear bubbles. Like,
we'll see
quit babying.
When the WHL, OHL, and QMJHL do partner with the NCAA and are able to send their players there, will they throw cages on their guys? QMJHL already has no fighting. OHL basically has no fighting. And then the CHL could tell the WHL they have to do no fighting and that their guys are doing cages. And there's nothing the WHL could do about it. And that would just be that.
Yeah, but the OHL might not have a lot of fighting, but they're definitely home to, you know, the most cheap shots in the league, though. Everywhere you look, you got a slew foot, or you got a cross check to the head, or pinned to the boards and just punched. Like, it's dirty. It's an
Ontario life. All right, so we got some cool jerseys here. Orlando Solar Bears, they own the the hockey jersey game. They continuously come out with the best jerseys. We did their whiteout ones the other day. They came out with, what do they call it? They're like Hawaiian shirts. I don't even know what it was called, Aloha or whatever, Beach Vibes Day, whatever you want to call it. And they also set the world record for the largest gathering of people wearing Aloha shirts with 1,254. So this team, they always have fun. They always come up with new concepts and new ideas. We talk about this every time there's a lower league that does something cooler with jerseys. NHL, grow your jersey game. Have some fun. We will put this picture of these jerseys in our video here, and it is spectacular, these jerseys. They are crazy, they're wild, but they're fun. And that's all that matters in hockey, is just having fun. And they brought 1,254 people together to wear Aloha shirts or whatever, Hawaiian shirts, whatever you want to call it. Like, tell me that's not growing the game. These people came just to wear Hawaiian shirts. Like,
Yeah, and it's not just warm-up jerseys either. Like they wear them full 60 minutes, you know?
yeah,
Like the AHL next to the CHL are kings when it comes to fanfare for coming out with theme nights. Like Kalamazoo Wings, for example, they literally pinked the rink. The whole ice was pink with white, blue lines and red lines. Like it was crazy. But they are known for having all these cool, fun festivities that, you know, different jerseys every week, and, you know, that's
yeah,
what you call fanfare.
exactly. And the refs in the game wore lifeguard outfits, black pants with red long sleeve shirts that said lifeguard with the plus on the front of it to support the beach night. I guess they call it. It's called beach night. So like even the refs got in on it, whereas the NHL will be like, no, that's not professional for our refs to not wear their zebra stripes and their orange band. Like, come on, man. It's an entertainment league. It doesn't have to be the WWE where it's so showmanship that things are goofy, but show a little life, show some personality, show, Orlando is down in the south where the sun is, so they had a beach night. Like, show some personality about where you're at. Let
They,
Dallas
they,
Stars do something about Texas. Like, you know what I mean?
yeah, they claim they're family oriented, you know, but they're going to ban fighting, but they're not going to bring more festivities into the league, right? With like different jerseys and theme nights, like it's very slim. You might get like a, you know, gay pride night or night, or Black History Month, Pride Night, like just certain little things like that. But when it comes to the AHL in comparison, they do like one a week almost, which is crazy. Like you said, the Aloha shirt one. So like even the most randomest of theme nights can even be incorporated.
Exactly. And I think, like you just said, Dal, so the NHL wants to get rid of fighting. Okay, what are they going to do to step their game up to bring fans to the rink? Because there is 50% fans wanting to watch a hockey game, 25% fans who are there with someone who wants to watch a hockey game, and 25% fans that are literally just there hoping that they see a fight. And most of the time it doesn't happen because fighting is way down. But there's still that 25% of fans that are literally just like, this is the cheapest way to watch a crazy UFC event all of a sudden, like on ice. And it's just different and it brings people to the game. But if you're not going to allow jerseys to change, so like for 60 games, a team is going to wear their home and aways. And then they get like 10 games where they wear one alternate, and then maybe they'll get another alternate in there. Whereas you look at the NBA, if there's one thing I give the NBA full credit for, it's the complete jersey customizability, because they just have so many different themes, so many different styles, all this stuff, and they look so good and they bring out so many options. But the NHL just lacks with their rigid. And hopefully, like when Bettman does leave, hopefully someone comes in who's like, all right, let's brand this, let's change, let's be more brand orientated and allow them some freedom. Because we don't need the league to be like the Islanders, no beards, like no fun. We don't need the league to become that.
It's a New York thing. It's an old school New York thing because the Yankees still do it in the MLB, which is
Yep,
crazy.
exactly. All right, we have Nikita Kucherov reaching 100 points. He can become the second player, or he did become the second player in the past 25 years to record 100 points in fewer than 60 games, alongside Connor McDavid, who's done it twice. And the most instances as an NHL's first 100-point scorer in a season. So Nikita Kucherov, 2 times now, he has been the first player in a season to reach 100 points. And of active players, he is tied for third with Ovechkin and Draisaitl for the most 100-point seasons with 4. And then Connor McDavid and Sidney Crosby have 6. And then just either tonight or last night as well, we had Nathan MacKinnon reach 100 points as well. So good to see him jump in there as well, as we knew he would. He's right behind Kucherov.
In 61 games.
Exactly. Yeah, he's flying. I missed this on. Kucherov also posted his 122nd career multi-assist game, which surpassed Martin St. Louis for the most in Lightning history. And he is tied with Ovechkin for the most 100-point seasons for a Russian in NHL history. So probably will pass him, too, as he's still got a lot of good years left. All right. Chris Chelios, jersey retirement night. I don't know if I've ever seen a better jersey retirement. I don't know if you guys watched any of it, but him and his mom rode in on a Cadillac on the ice. They had a live band. I forget the band that was going on, but live band playing like the whole time. He shouts out Kane, saying he's like the best U.S.-born player, on his return to Chicago, playing for Detroit. Then Kane goes and scores the OT winner in his return. Like, it was just a bumping night in Chicago to go with this. And yeah, I don't know if you guys saw it, but it was just a party, and it looked awesome.
Did Chelios play for both teams?
He did. Him and Kane both.
He played for the Blackhawks from 1990 to 1999, and then got traded after the 1999 season to the Detroit Red Wings. But honestly, you couldn't have scripted any better, having Patty Kane come back to the Windy City for the first time and score the OT winner for the opposing team.
It sparked big thoughts that he might go
Debrincat probably could have done it too, I guess.
True.
Yeah, and it was Debrincat who did assist Kane on the game winner. So the Chicago tandem scored against Chicago. And I will say this, it may be the only time in history when the entire Chicago fan base was cheering for the other team to score on them on a breakaway in overtime. It may be the only time we see it, because that place was so loud when Kane got that on a breakaway. You knew Chicago fans were cheering for him, and when he scored it, the building erupted as if he was still playing for Chicago and they won the game. So,
well, what do you expect? What do they have to cheer for these days, really?
Exactly, but you may never see that again. You may never see a team, especially an original 6, cheer on the other team to win so bad, unless it like.
Could you imagine
the NFL?
Could you imagine if that was like a Stanley Cup game, though? That'd be insane.
Damn.
You know what? I have faith in Chicago Blackhawks fans that they've been NHL fans long enough that they would boo him in the finals. They would give him the gears. But in that game, there was just so many emotions.
They are the most bandwagon team though ever, man. Like, they were irrelevant since 1961. Okay, the last time they won a cup, till 2010. Like, they were hardly getting any people in the attendance, like in the late 90s and early 2000s, until Patty Kane showed up. And then that place was rocking. United Center was starting to fill up. They got the likes of Taves and Kane in there. And then they were building a little dynasty. But now we're kind of getting quieter into those dark ages again, where like nobody really wants to go there. Okay, great, you got Connor Bedard. But you have to really start building a dynasty team again around Bedard for them to start coming back and filling in. You know?
Him and Celebrini have them winning a cup before 2030 if they get Celebrini.
If.
That's 7 years in a cup. I think those two, like, that's insane. That's pretty much the equivalent of like McDavid and Draisaitl, but they have unlimited cap. So,
you see Bedard was throwing a little hissy fit on the bench against Colorado the other night.
I did not see it, no.
Yeah, they were getting pumped 5-1 by the Avs, and Connor Bedard just comes off the ice and just starts, beating the shit out of the dasher boards. And I'm like, good on you, buddy. Yeah, how's it feel to play in Chicago, man? Yeah, you're really loving it, eh?
Oh, he will be, though. Hey, I'm willing to wager this. Chicago will win a cup before Colorado does again.
Okay. Okay, I'll wager that.
Okay.
I'll make a wager with you right now, Riley.
Also on Bedard, we will make one. He is the fewest to 45 points in fewest to 40 NHL points by a rookie in franchise history. It only took him 45 games. So Dennis Savard took 42, Steve Larmer took 43, Taves took 44, and Kane took 45. So he is tied with Patrick Kane for fourth on that list. So that's pretty impressive considering he was injured and everything, and he's come back and still played so well. I know that you made a video about this, Dallas, on our TikTok at Gameday Tarps. That the Edmonton Oil Kings have been averaging more fans than the Arizona Coyotes. So it says with 8,416 in attendance earlier today, just shy of 55,000 fans have come out to support the Oil Kings over their last 5 home games in the month of February. And it says the NHL's Arizona Coyotes would need 11 straight sellouts to top that attendance record.
And this just ain't no Oil Kings team, okay? This isn't the 2022 Oil Kings. This is the 2023-24 Oil Kings that are almost dead last in the Eastern Conference, okay? And yet they're still coming out to support them. You know, they don't have the likes of Dylan Gunther, Sebastian Cossa, Caden Gooley. They don't have the likes of Luke Prokop and, just all the big guys that were there to help them push towards the 2022 Memorial Cup, all right? There's hardly anybody worth mentioning now on today's roster, and yet they're still getting more fans at their games than an NHL team. Like, it is bonkers.
I'd love to know how many of those games Joe Ginla was in to see if that factored. He's got to be almost maxed out though. Like you can only play 5 as a 15-year-old, so he played like 2 earlier, and then I don't know how many he's played since, but he's got to be close to his max. And then, as soon as his team finishes this year, whatever their season looks like at Rink Academy in Kelowna, when they're done, he can immediately go finish the year as a 15-year-old with no worries about minimum games played, and then he can finish the year with them and then play next year. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see if Joe Ginla was pulling some fans to those games.
Kid's gonna tear it up for Edmonton.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, for sure. On the full roster next year, full time, definitely.
I missed this when we were talking about Debrincat and Kane. They have both factored in on the same goal 151 times, which is the highest total by a pair of U.S.-born NHL teammates in history. So, again, they're just killing it. I think that was the same night that Kane scored the OT winner. Matt Duchene scored 800 career points, so congrats to him. Found that Nichuskin is able to return to practice, and I'm sure he did play just since that happened. That was a couple days ago. He hasn't played yet?
Nope.
He's still practicing?
No, he's eligible Monday to start.
Okay, so he's eligible Monday. Thank you, Dally. We have most consecutive 90-point seasons in NHL history. Wayne Gretzky with 13, Mike Bossy with 9, and Connor McDavid with 8, tying Yari Curry and Dave Hawerchuk and Marcel Dion. So if McDavid scores 90 points next year, he ties the great Mike Bossy. And then if he gets one more after that, it's only him and Gretzky at the top. So we'll see how that goes. Now, I can't believe how many Oilers are on there. Curry, David, Gretzky, that's crazy. I guess Curry probably was helped by Gretzky, but he's climbing fast. He's going to hit 1,000 points next year, which is ridiculous to think about considering who are we talking about this year? Like Stamkos got 1,000 last year. Tavares just got 1,000. Like we're talking about some generational
guys that are all in their 30s now and like close to retirement.
Yeah. Stamkos
McDavid's like, I'm still in my prime, boys.
Literally. Stamkos was drafted 7 years before McDavid, and Tavares was drafted 6 years before McDavid. And they'll both still be playing in 2025, and don't be surprised if 2025, 2026, McDavid passes them in points while they're still in the league. I can see
a better point per game player, and Sidney Crosby even started before those boys, so he's like just saying, hold my beer.
I think he's going to pass Crosby only unless he gets injured, only because of Crosby's injuries. I still truly believe this statement that Crosby would be the second 2,000-point player by the end of his career if he didn't get injured. I think he totally could have got there, right behind, like second most points all time behind Gretzky. But I do think that McDavid is going to be the second player to reach 2,000 points in NHL history when it's all said and done. But Crosby, if only we could have seen his full potential if he didn't rush back from his concussions.
It's true.
John Carlson reached the most games played by a defenseman in Washington Capitals history. It was 984th game, so congrats to him on that milestone. And David Pasternak reached 700 career points quietly, honestly. It doesn't feel like Pasta's been in the league long enough to get 700 points. Like, I know he was a 2014 draft pick, and that's, 10 years ago now. But it just doesn't feel like Pasta's been around that long. But good for him. That's a lot of points.
Yeah, you're ahead of McDavid, and because Pasta played his rookie year, right? Or his draft year?
I think so, yeah. He made the team.
You're ahead of McDavid, and McDavid's already 100, 200 points ahead of him?
He's at 930 something.
That's crazy.
940. So, yeah, it is crazy, man. He's just a different animal. The Vegas Golden Knights are the fastest team to 300 wins as a franchise in NHL history. That is a record they think will never be broken. Because we're only gonna have a maximum of 5 to 8 more NHL franchises, and for some of them to win 300 games as fast as these guys have is going to be pretty difficult, with everyone knowing now how Vegas took advantage of them in the expansion draft and then how they didn't let Seattle do that. It's going to be more Seattle's and it's going to be Vegas's going forward, unless they get lucky with a year where people are like, if one happened in the COVID years, like an expansion happened when the salary cap was completely flat and the Tampa Bays and stuff were just losing contracts left, right, and center, that would have been beneficial for an expansion team. But now with the cap going up, I don't think it'll ever be as beneficial. Okay, we have news on the 2018 Canada World Junior front for those 5 players. This is via Rick Westhead. It was on X that I saw this. He quotes, 5 former members of Canada's 2018 World Junior Hockey Team who have been charged with sexual assault will have a trial by jury, the Globe and Mail reports. That's from the Globe and Mail. The players who requested for a jury trial were granted Tuesday will be tried together as a group. So we were wondering if it was going to be individually tried or as a group. It'll be several months at least before a trial date is scheduled. And then earlier this week, all 5 players selected it. I just said that, but they're repeating it. They're confident that jurors drawn from the community will decide this case fairly and impartially after hearing all the evidence and testimonies. Lawyers representing the accused players wrote Globe journalist Robin Doolittle in a joint statement. So that's from Rick Westhead per Robin Doolittle of the Globe journalism. So more news.
I seen someone today on Facebook Marketplace. They were selling a Carter Hart alternate jersey of the Flyers for $150, and he was trying to sell it up, saying never worn, mint condition, $150. And I'm like, dude, good luck selling that jersey because ain't nobody is gonna want that.
You might get somebody who takes it just in case. It's only $150 for an NHL jersey if he, is proven not guilty and comes back to the league. That's pretty cheap for a Hart jersey, but you probably shouldn't buy it. But someone will. Someone will, for sure.
I mean, yeah, if you're a diehard Phillies fan, maybe, but yeah.
Yeah. So there is news on the PWHL playoff situation, and it is catching a lot of backlash. People are not liking it.
Like what they do, when you're in first or whatever position you're in, you get to decide if you want to play the second or third best team.
Exactly. So it says the top 4 teams in the regular season standings qualify for the playoffs. The first place team will have a 24-hour window to select its semifinal opponent. Semifinals and championships will be played as a best of 5. Higher seeds will have home ice advantage for games 1, 2, and 5. Games requiring overtime will be decided by playing 5-on-5 periods until a winning goal is scored. So they basically get to pick between 3rd and 4th, and everyone hates that. Like, why not just make them play 4th? Like, what's the point on letting them pick? Like, more times than not, how often do we see in some kind of a sport where you can pick your opponent that the team that gets picked thrashes them? And let's not even call it picked. Let's just look at Florida versus Toronto. We want Florida, and then just steamrolled, because that gave the Panthers so much energy to say, all right, these guys want us. Here we are.
Too cocky. Too cocky about it.
And they just ran them over. So you give a team a chance to say, we think, even though 3rd place is higher in the standings, we think we can beat 3rd place better than we can beat 4th place. And then 3rd place goes out and rocks 1st place. And, like, I just don't see it being a positive outcome for this league when they should have just stuck to the norm.
I mean, causes exciting hockey, I guess, in a way. If there is an upset like that, like, kind of crazy, I guess.
That's true.
I'll never forget the time Radko Gudas just went right up to Ilya Samsonov and was just fucking yelling in his face, like, fuck yeah. Like, that is king mentality right there. Like, you just shit on the Maple Leafs and you're letting them know, like, this is what you get for one in Florida, boys. Like, we just dismantled, your franchise for another playoff year. Like, how does it feel?
I saw today the Arizona Coyotes, because they, like, I don't know, they lost to Toronto yesterday or whatever, but it was like a reminder that the Arizona Coyotes have 3 times more playoff series wins than the Toronto Maple Leafs. It's like, that was a pretty good chirp.
In the last 20 years, yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, all right, they can take the loss on the chin, but they thought that was pretty funny. Also, the fact that was the first time Toronto had won on home ice versus Arizona in the craziest stat ever since the day Matthew Knies was born. October 17th, 2002 was the last time the Leafs beat the Coyotes at home. And then Matthew Knies helps beat the Coyotes on home ice for the Toronto Maple Leafs. All these 23 years later, whatever it is, 22 years later, like, weirdest stat ever to come out, considering Matthew Knies also born in Arizona. So born in Arizona, this Arizona record, and then he's on Toronto to beat Arizona to break the record that happened from his birthday. Like, just crazy. I don't, like, you can't script that stuff. That's the most random stat ever.
Well, I mean, you could script it. The fact that it's that specific sounds scripted.
It does. Yeah, I just thought that was wild. I was like, that's pretty neat.
I mean, I want to know how they figured that out, though. Like, who just brainstormed right there on the spot and was like, "Yo,
oh, dude, it's the Leafs fan base. They have some guy 45 years old.
The amount of digging you have to do,
like, and he's just like, I remember this.
Like, literally hire these people as private investigators, man. Like,
yeah, just for a
like,
story. And they want a big story afterwards, and then they ask Matthew Knies, like, hyped it all up for like the whole day, and then they asked Matthew Knies, he was like, "Really? What a coincidence."
He's like, "Wow, that's crazy."
Just killed it. It was like, oh, all your guys hype, and he didn't even care.
I feel like some of his bullshit too. Like, he just come up with some random shit like, "Ooh, the Leafs didn't win against so and so at home. The last time I did such and such," and it's like, who the fuck cares?
Well,
like,
it
just
was a long time though. 22 years is a long time to not beat a team.
Oh, that's
in a specific arena.
Don't get me wrong, that's a bad stat. Like, when you got to go up against Arizona on home ice, like, you're just expecting a loss every time at this point against Arizona, and you are the Toronto Maple Leafs with one of the most cracked rosters on paper, but sometimes not on the ice.
That was like Tampa Bay. This year was the first time they ever won in Minnesota in their franchise history. Like, ever. and they've been around since 1992. Like, how do you never win in Minnesota in all those
Now you're
years?
gonna get superstitious about it. Like you have to do
Yeah.
something a certain way to make sure they can succeed again at the Xcel Energy Center.
And Cooper was like, they told him that, and he's like, I know, finally, right? Like my whole career in the NHL, it's the only place I've never won. And like, he was like, it was good to get that one off the back because I've been here forever. And they're like, you've accomplished everything as a coach, and he's like, nope, haven't won in Minnesota. Like,
Wait, so they still haven't won in
no,
Minnesota?
they won this year
Oh.
for the first time. Finally, it took forever, but it like just random things that happened. Like wasn't it Calgary's in Anaheim? How long was it that Calgary didn't win in Anaheim?
Yeah, I don't remember the last time they won in Anaheim. It was probably like the 90s, I would assume, but it was like the last time they beat Anaheim in Anaheim.
Yeah, it was
And
a
then-
long time ago.
And then Mike Smith was the first goalie to do it since whoever, and then Markstrom did it again.
Yeah, they forgot. Whoever noted it forgot that Markstrom did it. They made it sound like, that Smith did it. They made it sound like Markstrom was the first goalie to do it.
Yeah, that'd be the boys over at the Flames Barn Burner.
That's right, those boys. Throw some shade.
I'll call them
Flames
out.
facts.
Fake
Throw your
fans.
facts.
Fake fans. There's been a few comments I've seen that you show me, Dakota, are like, man, you're just throwing out some fake information there, man. Like, who the hell did you get your source from?
I mean, to be fair, they like podcast every day. So there's not enough news on just the Calgary Flames for you to talk every day. You got to make shit up.
I'm sure you can make some shit up though. Like, you could say like, well, who do you think Calgary is gonna, beat the next playoff series, or just make some stuff up. I don't know. Content filler, man.
They're not making the playoffs.
They might.
Next time.
Unfortunately,
Next time they make
they
playoffs.
might.
Technically, they still have above 500 record, so.
Yeah, that's not good enough these days. Especially with, let's jump into it, because they're in trade mode. We had the first trade leading up to the trade deadline in the 2 week. We kind of call it the 2 week period. The 2 weeks before the trade deadline, things ramp up. We had Calgary send Chris Tanev to the New Jersey Devils for a player named Cole Brady, and then Tanev then got sent from New Jersey to Dallas for a 4th round pick, and they retained 50%, and Calgary retained 50%. So Dallas only has 25% of Tanev's contract, and then Calgary traded Cole Brady to Dallas for Artem Grushnikov, a 2nd round pick, and a conditional 3rd round pick. And this is split on the internet. I want to get your thoughts first on this, Dak, being the Flames fan, but I know I don't like it.
No, I mean, you say you're holding out for a 1st round pick. You didn't even get it. That 3rd round is a 50-50 take if Dallas makes wins the Stanley Cup. Calgary
Makes the
gets
final.
Is
Just
it the
makes the
final?
Yeah, but still, that's a reach.
Yeah. If they make the final, then you get the 2025 third, I think it was.
2026.
Oh, so even worse. And
Yeah.
then if they don't make it, the pick's just gone. And yeah, then you just get the 2024 second, which, I mean, could be anything.
Could turn out, could not. Could be a flop.
Exactly.
See almost all of Calgary's 2nd round picks in the last decade. Not many of them turn out. There's a couple. I'm not saying all of them, but there's a good few that don't.
Rasmus, Shillington.
You have Jan Kuznetsov too, and you have who's the guy that just played, not just got drafted. The Stromgren, we've already talked about taking Stromgren.
He's
over
a forward though.
Stankoven. Yeah, but
Yeah, the
Stankoven,
fact that they grabbed
rates.
Stromgren over Stankoven is just baffling.
And then back in 2014, Mason McDonald over Thatcher Demko.
True.
Another one that's, if they were looking for a goalie in that round, they have a guy that never even played an NHL game versus a guy in the Vezina Trophy race right now.
Here's what I don't get about this trade, okay? And I'm going to make it short and sweet, all right? Name one proud Calgary Flames fan that actually is accepting this trade. Like, all the hype around, okay, we're going to get it first, okay, but the only good side on this is that you're dumping some salary cap, all right? But people over at TSN are literally praising the ground that Craig Conroy is walking on right now, saying that he's making out like this is the best thing he's done. He must be feeling pretty good about himself. Dude,
Well, and
a
they're saying
2026 pick.
that defenseman is exactly like Tanev. Can you really compare him to Tanev right now? Like, Tanev's a pretty high caliber defensive defenseman.
Exactly.
But you're not even getting what's advertised, though.
Yeah.
You know, you said you wanted a first round pick and you were waiting out to get it. Well, you sure as shit didn't get it. And then there's a condition on the pick in 2026. Like, holy.
Like, I just
And you
look
retain half his salary.
Yeah. And I just look at the fact that Columbus and Pittsburgh trade just happened with Nylander and Bemstrom, where the condition was that if Bemstrom scored 6 goals, that it goes from a 6th round pick to a 3rd round pick. The fact that Calgary has a 3rd round pick that doesn't even turn into a guaranteed 4th, 5th, 6th, or 7th is a joke. Like, they were just like, well, we'll give you a 3rd if we don't make the Stanley Cup final. Oh, okay, good deal. Okay, so what if you don't make the Stanley Cup final? Oh, you get nothing.
Dakota, this should make you
okay.
scared for Noah Hannafin now. The next, potentially the next guy out of Calgary. Like, this should make you scared.
You know what I hate is that
for the value.
It's coming down to 2 teams for Hannafin, Boston and the Lightning. They have nothing Calgary should want.
Especially Boston.
No,
Both of you
Tampa's
guys'
worse.
farm teams
Tampa's
are
worse.
lacking.
Yeah, Tampa doesn't have a first till 2026.
Yeah. And we only have Isaac Howard.
They have Isaac Howard, an American player who's potentially going to be cocky and be like, no, I don't want to play here.
And he's proven that. There's no doubt about that. That kid has an ego the size of this planet. So, like, there's no way that...
Yeah. PLD 2.0?
No,
at least
not
PLD's Canadian.
But Isaac Howard puts in effort. He has some hard work in his game, but I could see him just wanting to play for an American team.
I meant ego, though,
But, but it's 50-50. It depends. He could turn out good, and I hope he does, and I hope that whether it's Tampa or whoever he plays for, he's just a stand-up kid who wants to play in the NHL, and he'll play wherever it is, but I don't know if that's the case with him. Because he's already transferred schools once when it wasn't going his way. So, like, who knows?
I also heard the Kings are invested in Noah Hannafin, but we'll even see if they're going to be a front runner or not. But even so, like, what would you even get from the Kings?
Well, we know that for sure it would be that Russian kid. What's his name? Why am I blanking?
Alex Kaliev.
Yeah. Kaliev for sure would be in the return. Here's the thing. You knew this was coming, and you knew you potentially weren't going to be able to keep Hannafin. And up until the beginning of this year, guys like Alexis Lafreniere and Quinton Byfield were on the trade block. And look out the breakout years they've had. And the fact that all the teams in the NHL that are selling players right now could have traded for those guys. And now it's just not an option. Lafreniere is finally starting to play consistently, and Byfield is a man on a mission this year. He's arguably a top 3-4 player on the Kings. So, like, you could have probably done Hannafin for Byfield in the summer.
I mean, most Calgary fans probably could have seen Hannafin wanting out 1 to 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
We should have dealt him way prior than now. He's got too much say in where he goes now.
Yep.
And, you should have done it when there was at least somewhat a little bit of term. And like you said, teams like the Rangers having Lafreniere, we could have had that could have been a big splash.
Yep. And what players those could be for the Flames right now, Lafreniere or Byfield, like, unreal. Just thinking what they could do. And now I would want Byfield on my team because he's a menace this year. Like, screw everything that's happened since his draft year. He put on weight, he got stronger, and he finally grew into his body. People are always like, with tall players, they're like, oh, he's a bust if he doesn't work out right away. It's like, I gotta remember, he's 18 years old and 6'3". Like, has his feet even stopped growing yet? Like, it's hard to grow into your body for big guys, and it takes some time. That's why defenders take so long to make it in the NHL, because they have to grow into their bodies where they're coordinated enough to keep their big body frame intact versus Connor McDavid skating down on them. Like, it just takes some time for big guys.
I just want to make mention, talking about size, is that considering now today, I'm sure a lot of teams are now reconsidering and kicking themselves in the face that they passed up on Logan Stankoven, because he is killing it now. Not only at every other level that he's played out throughout his career, but now at the NHL level, it is crazy. 3 goals in 4 games and an assist.
You know what? I've just been thinking about this because it was something that didn't really dawn on me literally until I think yesterday. So obviously growing up in Kamloops, Logan grew up in Kamloops. I remember being 17 years old with one of our lead trainers here in Kamloops, Crosby Dore. We were at the gym. I was there. Joe Hicketts was there, Team Canada gold medalist and kind of NHL player for mostly Detroit. He was at the gym. And then what am I? I'm 1996 and Logan's 2003 or something, 2004. So let's call it like 8 years younger. I was 17, 18, and in comes like this 10, 11-year-old Logan Stankoven with his dad to work at the gym. Like, alone, not with a team, none of that, just alone. And here he is now in the NHL because at 10 years old, he was working out at the gym. And now we see this fruition where he's probably stuck with Dallas the rest of the year because he's way outplayed the AHL, way outplayed the WHL, dominated for Team Canada. Like, he just continues to get better. He understands it. He's got a good head on his shoulders. And just from a young age, he just had that drive to want it. And it came to my head the other day, just remembering like seeing him walk in that gym being like, here's a guy who was not drafted to the NHL and Joe Hicketts, but was the best player that Kamloops had since Mark Recchi. And then Logan Stankoven, no one knew how good he was going to be. And here he is now. Probably the best, definitely the best player since Mark Recchi now to come through the Kamloops ranks. So I just had that come in my head the other day, so I thought I'd throw it out there.
Well, even in the Western Hockey League alone, like he had over 260 points in only 160 something games. Like it was just bonkers, and then Yale Prep, and then Thompson Blazers, and then obviously, and then the Western Hockey League Kamloops Blazers, and then the Texas Stars. He's still leading the AHL, even in his absence for playing with the NHL Dallas Stars. It's crazy. And then he was a AHL All-Star a couple weeks back there in for the Barracuda. They were hosting for the AHL All-Star game. But yeah, like just a phenomenal start to his NHL career, and we could not be any happier for him. Unbelievable.
Exactly. Going back to the Flames, though, I wanted to talk to you guys about this because we have some outs and ins this year in the last. So just basically Craig Conroy's trade outs and trade ins. The outs are massive names: Elias Lindholm, Tyler Toffoli, Nikita Zadorov, and Chris Tanev, all who were pending UFAs and had made it clear that they either didn't want to be there or, in Tanev's case, that he understood that the team needed to get assets for him if they weren't going to bring him back. So that there was an understanding there. But
didn't quite get the best for him, though.
Exactly. But coming in, they get Igor Sharangovich, Andrei Kuzmenko as NHL players. They get a first, second, third, conditional fourth, and a fifth. Hunter Brushewitz, Artem Grushnikov, and Yanni Yermo. For one of the best depth scorers in the NHL in Tyler Toffoli, one of the best top centers in the NHL. Let's call him top 15 centers in the NHL in Elias Lindholm. One of the best third pairing defenders in the NHL in Nikita Zadorov, and one of the best veteran top 4 defenders in the NHL. That to have one first and one second out of that haul is extremely disappointing to see. Yes, Hunter Brushewitz could be something, but he could not. Artem Grushnikov could be something, he could not. And we've already seen Kuzmenko be scratched, and we've seen Sharangovich have a great year. Like, there's definitely the Toffoli for Sharangovich trade is honestly the best one so far with the way that the year has gone. But the rest of them, like Zadorov for a third-round pick, I still, to this day, think that's an absolute joke for what they could have got for him. Yes, they wanted to move him on quick. He wasn't happy. It was known he wasn't happy. But it showed that what they got for Zadorov basically was equal value what they got for Tanev. An underwhelming thing. And then same with kind of Lindholm. Like, yes, they finally got a first, but Kuzmenko, who the Canucks didn't want anyways, and just some other picks, and then a prospect that they didn't really need. Like, I don't know. It's just
the Zadorov one doesn't bother me too much, only because they didn't really pay too much to get him in the first place. So it's not like it's not like they lost a whole lot on that trade. With Tanev, you definitely lose a solid, reliable top 4D veteran. But you look at where they're at, and it's like you were saying, it was a mutual thing. He knew what they were doing, or where the direction they were going. I think Lindholm just clearly, to me, wanted out. He didn't seem happy at all.
Yeah.
But I don't know, Sharangovich has definitely panned out so far. And you're right, best trade so far. But every trade that he's done afterward, it's trades that you're looking down the road. Like, did that trade work out for this team?
Yeah.
None of the trades are win now trades.
No. Which is unfortunate because here's the thing. They said that they wanted to retool. This is looking like a rebuild. This is not the additions of a retool. Could Grushnikov maybe be in the NHL? They're saying maybe he could get some ice time at the end of the year, depending on who they trade. Maybe he makes the team next year, for sure. Kuzmenko, you could lose to free agency if you guys don't want him back. And then Sharangovich has again proved himself. But first-round picks, it's less than 50% of first-round picks that ever actually make it to the NHL on a full-time basis. It's even less than 25% for second round and below to make it. So the fact that they have second, third, fourth, and fifth is like, how many of those are actually going to be NHL players for literally, if you were looking at the trade board at the beginning of the year, Lindholm, Toffoli, Zadorov, and Tanev were all top 10 trade assets, and Hanifin and Markstrom were also there. The Flames had 6 of the top 10 trade assets, and you can't say that they won any of them outright without a doubt, which is terrible.
No. Unless they all become NHL studs next year, in the first is someone nuts, the second is someone nuts.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's a good prospect you got in that trade, though, with Hunter Bruschewitz. I mean, he's got like 82 points in only 58 games. He's a plus 28. He's going to be a hell of a defenseman for the Wranglers.
But he's American.
Okay, Calgary loves their history with American-born players.
I have a hate with American players going to Canada. I have a hate for it.
The American-born players with Calgary is like 0% now. Adam Fox, Johnny Gaudreau,
buddy, Craig Conroy is American.
Okay,
just saying.
Let's talk new NHL, where players have more say. When Conroy played, players didn't have as much say. But new NHL, where players have a say, they've lost all of them. All of their USA-born players that were actually good are gone.
Okay, if he pans out, then you should be excited. I'll just rephrase that for you then.
That's
if he wants to stick around, then you should be excited. If not, then hell or high water. See ya.
Like, I don't know if I see Hunter Bruschewitz as being better than Ty Smith. Like,
really?
Ty Smith had a fantastic junior career as an offensive defenseman, but he couldn't translate to pro. Right? Like, I don't know if he's much better. I could be totally wrong, and I'm fine if I am. Like, it's this kid's future. He can make it whatever he wants to make it. But I just feel like as pure offensive defenseman, it's so hard to make it in the NHL because you're not useful beyond the regular season. They need defenders in the playoffs, and usually teams that have at least one offensive defenseman don't make it far in the playoffs because those guys get shut down. All right, let's continue our trade talk here because we had the Toronto Maple Leafs acquire again this year Ilya Lyubushkin and Kirill Slepets from the Anaheim Ducks in exchange for a third-round pick, and in retaining salary 50% Anaheim, and then also retaining 50% of what was left was Carolina, who receives a sixth-round pick for that. So, yeah, 25% of the salary of Lyubushkin goes to the Maple Leafs. But there we go again. In the trade with Calgary, there was a fourth-round pick dished out to New Jersey for taking cap, but Carolina only got a sixth. And yet Calgary still only got that second guaranteed. And I can't stop going back to it. I'm like, this is so terrible. The fact that at the end of the day, that Calgary could only end up with a second-round pick that pans out, and New Jersey got a guaranteed fourth is still just ridiculous.
Man, Toronto and their reunions, man, they love it. Just to get beat up in the playoffs.
What choice did they have, though?
They're cap strapped to hell.
They lost Tanev. Hanifin not going to them. Who can they afford? So they just went with a guy they could get. But I bet that they would have liked this next trade if they could have added him. The New Jersey Devils add Curtis McDermott for a seventh-round pick and prospect Zakhar Bardakov. So if the Maple Leafs knew that guy was out there as a depth defender, I would honestly take McDermott over Lyubushkin, and he adds some sandpaper to that team. I think that would have been a good pickup. Any thoughts? Mr. Avalanche fan? Thoughts? You think the Avs are making another trade now that McDermott's gone? Are they making room for somebody? What do you think?
He is not
This
going
guy right
to
here?
Colorado, dude.
No way.
No way.
What's McDermott's contract? I don't even know what it is.
McDermott was very fringe, though. He would be called up or sent back down, or then he would be replacing somebody if they got injured. Like, you know what? For a seventh-round pick, whatever, take him. But at least it dumps a little bit of contract for the Avs to use. But when they use Gabriel Lanisog's LTIR contract, trying to pick up Parise and whatnot, like, these are just guys that are aging out. You should be making moves like that. You want to win another cup right now? Get somebody big.
His cap hit's $987,500, so just under $1 million. But I think it's a bigger play. I think that they're going to try and add a piece with this because Curtis McDermott is a serviceable defender for the Colorado Avalanche when they don't have many options to add players. So to ship out a whole $1 million means that they're looking at something.
Yeah.
Because who's in the minors that's been playing over him? Probably no one. Why would they trade an NHL roster player for literally peanuts?
The only guys they've been really calling up is Eustace Anunin and Ivan Prozdov, whatever. Oh God, I can never pronounce his name.
I know, I can't.
It's always goalies moving up, or then you got the odd forward coming up in place for someone injured. Like hardly any defenseman. It's always either McDermott filling in for somebody.
Yeah. So again, a serviceable NHL player that you decide to move on. There's something bigger at play here for the Avalanche. There's got to be. No, it's not him. You know what? If
not
if
a
it
chance,
is him,
buddy.
Put it on a platter, boys.
What do you got? What does Colorado have to give them to really wow?
And you know who's going the other way, Dallas? Bowen Byram.
That's true.
Yeah, probably
Probably
because they are in desperate need because they have aging defensemen. So they're gonna have to get rid of Chris Letang whenever he decides to retire, and then maybe move on from Erik Carlson. Get Bowen Byram, Callum Ritchie, maybe a first.
I could see if it was Marcus Petterson and Jake Gensel going to Colorado, yeah, like Byram, a prospect, and a first would get that done for sure.
Or even Val Nichuskin. Send package to Val Nichuskin with that too.
Yeah, I don't know if they'd want Val Nichuskin. Guy's got lots of problems. He's a walking nightmare in and out of the play.
But Avalanche fan praise the ground he walks on. He was a great pickup, and not flourishing with the Dallas Stars, sure, but He helped us with that big push 2 years ago against your Lightning, sure. But you know what? I think it's time for him to move on. Honestly, that's my honest thoughts.
Sometimes that happens. Guys just need a change of scenery. Like the Yotes, talk about change of scenery. No, but they were winless for 13 straight. They passed the Sharks record for the longest win streak or winless streak of the season. I think it reached 14 or 15 tonight. They just beat the Ottawa Senators finally to end their streak. And
Another dumpster fire this year.
Sens fans let the Sens have it. They were just booing at the end of the game. And it was like 5-2 also. Like, it wasn't close. And those fans were just ripping them apart. And
like Ottawa fans on their own players?
Yeah, Ottawa fans were just booed. Whoever the defender was holding the puck behind the net at the end of the game with like 3 seconds left. And because he knew the game was over. And those fans just booed. Because, again, the Coyotes have lost like 15 straight.
And you lose to them.
When you're the team that loses to them, it hurts. But when you're also the bottom of your division and you were supposed to be a good team and your fan base is fed up, it hits even harder.
That's another guy on the block too, is Vladimir Tarasenko, another aging forward. He thought he
in on him too. I was like, well, we could afford him.
Same with Colorado, and I remember I posted this the other day, and I got quite a few likes on this comment. I said hard pass. People are speculating that he could be going to Colorado, and I said no, thank you. You do not need another aging forward on this team.
His cap hit sucks. His cap hit is stupid, but you put a Russian on the wing with Kucherov, you never know what can happen. Tarasenko pointing Kucherov, that could be a deadly line. Because Tarasenko wouldn't have to do much. When you rely on Tarasenko to be like the first or second best player on his line, nothing happens. But if he's the third best player on his line and he can just kind of float around, pick up points where he gets them, I think he's more serviceable that way.
Enter New York Rangers last year, okay? They picked him up, thought they were getting a bargain. Didn't quite get him far in the playoffs, now did it?
No, but the Rangers as a whole were a dumpster fire in the playoffs. Like, they lost to New Jersey. Look at New Jersey this year. It was just a one-off. I would be scared to play the New York Rangers this year because they're goalie tandem. But either way, Jacob Chychrun too. He's on the block. Everyone's blaming Jacob Chychrun basically for the season, why they're doing so bad on defense. It's like, how is this Chychrun's fault? All of them suck.
You got Sanderson, Thomas Chabot, Jacob Chychrun, Artem Zub. Like, blame them all. Don't just center him out.
Half the year, like, man, their team's been rattled. I don't know. I just don't think that's fair blame, just solely on Chychrun, to have him be like a huge trade target.
They just got to accept that their whole franchise this year is just in shambles. Okay.
Exactly.
The next Kachuk brother to one out.
True. Absolutely it will be. He's going to ask out in the next 3 years, guaranteed. He probably can't right now because he's in like year 2 of that 8-year deal, but as soon as it hits like year 4, see you later.
He'll get tired of being there, trust me.
Well, yeah, he's a guy from St. Louis who's lived in tons of American cities, and like he's literally lived in Arizona, and he's living in Ottawa, Canada. Like,
okay, Matt Duchene was from Halliburton, Ontario, close to Ottawa, and he wanted out. He said he loved going there. Then he started hating it.
That whole Ottawa franchise wanted out, right? Like, everyone, Mika Zibanejad, Mark Stone, like, that whole list of players gone.
JG Pajot, like, the list goes on. I wouldn't want to play for Ottawa, honestly.
Nope. But here's a team most players do want to play for, the Oilers, and Zach Hyman has scored 40 goals for the first time in his career. So we can say congratulations to him on that, because...
Not a player named Connor Bedard or Connor McDavid.
Exactly. But hey, a player benefiting very heavily from Connor McDavid. There's no doubt about that. A couple coaches getting slapped with some fines on the same night. We had Sheldon Keefe and Don Granato getting slapped $25,000 fines for unprofessional conduct directed at the referee. So I saw the
When?
Sheldon Keefe one. I saw the Sheldon Keefe one, and I was like, what? He's like talking to the ref, calm as could be, and then the ref kicks him out, and he's like, what? Like, and then apparently he must have said something before that, because he like they showed where he was mad before that, and then he was talking to them again, and that's when they kicked him out. So I don't. He must have said something before that got him the fine, because what he did when he got kicked out was so plain. Like, he kept a very calm demeanor, and then the ref was just like kicked out, and he was just like, okay, and left. He left without even screaming. Like, he didn't just say, you know what, I'm already kicked out, I'm going to give this ref everything I've got. He just left.
The one thing I'm glad about this, I don't know if you boys follow the NBA as closely, but I think we made a slight mention to it last time, is that refs in this league are very much different from the NBA. Like, I swear, you look at the NBA refs a wrong way, or point at them, or toss the ball to them, you're getting ejected and fined. Coaches look at them the wrong way, tossed and fined. Like, it's such a different narrative, and it's so soft.
Refs are getting sworn at every game, hundreds of times.
Come to a Western Hockey League game, they get pounced with insults and stuff, and yet they take it.
I think refs are also getting softer. I think they're given way too much power in a league. And I think that's a lot where, people chime in and say the refs rigged the game.
Biased, yeah, very biased.
They get so much power. How is it almost not like they're rigging the game?
Well, what was that? The one ref that got kicked out officially, like when he was like reffing that Nashville game, and he said, on mic, he got caught saying, I just wanted to give Nashville a penalty. Like,
ouch.
Yeah, he's banned.
There's some good PR for you there, boss.
That was 2022, 2021. He's banned from the NHL now, because he literally said that on the mic in the game. The other ref was like, why'd you give Nashville a penalty? And he said, I don't know, they were just pissing me off tonight. I just wanted to give Nashville a penalty. And that got him fired, because they were like, what? Like, your reason is you wanted to, not because the play.
Not because they actually did anything?
Yeah. Like, you were specifically searching and watching Nashville players to pick out a penalty. Like, okay.
Yeah, that's not going to help your case at all.
No. So, yeah, he didn't last long. Another sexual assault case. This one, Calgary Flame prospect. I don't know if you heard this, Dakota.
Oh, Topi Ronnie?
Topi Ronnie, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's been known.
That's old news now, dude.
Yeah. But its trial just started in the district court, according to local media. So, it does say the Flames have said they became aware of legal issues involving Ronnie after they selected him in the 2022 NHL draft.
Yeah, of course they would say that.
Yeah, but they also said they didn't know.
Yeah, they didn't know Dylan
Dubé
had anything to do with it either. Yeah.
Yeah. So
they're just trying to save their own ass.
If this is Craig Conroy having to answer these questions, fair enough. He can say whatever he wants, because he did not draft these players. He did not sign these players. He did not keep these players.
Yeah, he might not have known about the accusations, but who's to say Tree Living didn't?
Wait till he's either proven innocent or proven guilty, and then watch the PR team come out and say they're going to release him. Like, watch what they're going to say then. Oh, was it because of mental health, or are they going to start backpedaling and start coming out with the truth?
And what's tough about Topi Ronnie is that he was our second rounder in 2022?
Yep.
Because we didn't have a first round that year. So that guy would be our first pick in that draft.
Yep. Which sucks. And like, where is this obliviousness coming from? Like, this, okay, I'll read this out, okay? So their pick in 2022, he was accused of a suspected rape in the summer of 2021. So accusations were made in the summer of 2021, and no one at the NHL heard about it? Like, I get, again, innocent until proven guilty, for sure. But this is the exact same thing with Logan Mailloux with Montreal. But Topi Ronnie's just went apparently completely under the radar and wasn't talked about. It's like, who is doing the research for you guys? Like, yes, they're minors, but who's doing like criminal records? Like, for most jobs, you need a criminal record check. Okay, why are these professional teams that are paying guys millions of dollars not doing criminal record checks?
I mean,
Research is lacking.
You don't really think about it when the kids are 17, 18 years old.
Exactly, and you shouldn't have to, but it's becoming all of a sudden very, very common. This age group is wild for their decision making. We had Alex Pietrangelo reach 600 points on a positive note, so good for Pietro. After his long career, he's reached 600. All right, so this is regarding Petterson that we talked about. This is per Elliot Friedman. According to multiple sources, the Vancouver Canucks and Carolina Hurricanes had discussed about Elias Pettersson. It advanced to a stage where both the Canucks and the player needed to make serious decisions about where their relationship was headed. The Canucks ultimately decided in favor of another attempt at extending Petterson, and when he was facing the possibility of Vancouver moving him, he allowed his agents Pat Brisson and JP Barry to resume negotiations. And previously, remember that he indicated he preferred to wait until after the season to discuss. So, sounds like that's crazy that the Canucks, I don't know if they were looking at a Johnny Gaudreau and Matthew Tkachuk situation, but they were like, we are not losing Elias Pettersson for nothing, and we need to let him know that.
Yeah, no, I feel like, again, you're giving the players too much control of the situation. Either you want to be here or you don't, and we need to figure that out now.
Yeah,
like, and you don't just get to walk out for free.
This indecisiveness is so annoying. It, like Johnny Gaudreau, Matthew, at least like guys like Matthew Tkachuk said, I don't want to be here, I'm out. Fair enough. But Johnny Gaudreau, I just don't know. I'm gonna wait until the offseason. Boom, flip the switch, go somewhere else. Get nothing for him for Calgary. And now you have Elias Pettersson basically, I just want to wait till the offseason, till there's literally no choice for the team. And they were just like, look, we love you, we want you here, you're a great player, but we refuse to get nothing for you if you leave. So
yeah.
He's been in the league 6 years, okay? And this is Jesus.
You're good.
He's been in the league for 6 years, okay? And he's already on pace for his second best season in points. He only has 75, but like his best season in points was 102, and that was last year actually. But still, like when you have a guy that scored like 66 points or 68 points, and then you got going up to 102 and then now 75, it's like he's not that great of a superstar, okay? He's only a plus 8 out there on the ice, and he's not going to be getting anything north of 8, okay? He needs to stop with this infatuated ego that he's worth like in William Nylander, okay? And no, this isn't a West Coast, East Coast biased, okay? This is just the facts and the points production out on the ice, okay? Elias Pettersson is one of the most consistent, inconsistent superstars out there, where he'll go on a hot streak and then a big cold streak and then a hot streak. Like, he's not worth anything more north than 8 mil, okay? And he's going to have to accept it. Unless you're going to go to a franchise where they got all the cap in the world and they'll give it to you because you're going to be literally their only superstar. But yet he's one of 5 others on the team. He's got to, he's got to get with the program. If he wants to win with the Canucks, you got to take less money there, buddy.
I mean, is it even about how much money they're offering him? And to me, it doesn't sound like.
I think it's
I don't think it's a financial problem. I think it's, does he just want to be in Vancouver in general?
That's true, yeah. He wants a long-term deal, I think.
Yeah, but he doesn't know if he wants a long-term deal in Vancouver. But here's the thing, like, why don't these guys get this? All right? If you are 3 months away from not being employed with a company and you're debating if you actually want to be employed by that company, you probably don't want to be employed by that company. Or if the job is in a town you don't want to live in, or whatever the circumstance is, and you're 3 months away from having to re-up your contract and you're like, I just don't know. I don't know if I want to commit. I don't know. That probably means you don't want to. Like, if it's not an easy yes, then it's basically a no. So I don't know why it's taken him this long. Clearly, he's not fully happy there for whatever reason, whether it's teammates or lifestyle or just the city. He just doesn't like Vancouver. I don't know. But
Maybe it's even the taxes because British Columbia is one of the highest places to live in this country, even though he's a superstar making, a couple million as it is. But even then, like, we have rental properties in Vancouver that are little shacks going for 2 to 3 million. Like,
I know.
yeah, I don't, maybe that's another big reason why he doesn't want to play here is because just for his family to want to live and thrive here is just way too expensive.
Well, and here's another guy in a confusing situation. Let's talk about Jacob Markstrom today. Dakota, you showed me this. This is quoted Jacob Markstrom from TSN. The whole situation and everything, am I happy about that? No, I'm not. And I think it could have been handled a lot different from up top. This is about his trade situation. Like, and I talked to you about this, Dakota. Okay, so they said that they weren't going to trade him originally. And then they said, we're not going to talk about it in the media if we are. And then trade team started to offer stuff. So then they asked him to waive his no trade clause out of respect. Hey, are you willing to waive your no trade clause? He could have said no. He said yes. And then that trade fell apart, as sometimes in business things fall apart. And now the Flames said, okay, the only team we wanted to trade with that had a good offer fell through. So now we're going to keep him. And he comes out and says, I'm not happy with the way that they're handling it. I think that's a joke because I think
the fact that the Flames management are getting blasted for it too.
Yeah. Like, we're going to call out the NHL Network here because they called the Flames a bad organization. This was Kevin Weeks, Mike Rupp, and Devin Dubnyk, and saying that once you ask a player to waive his no trade clause, then you have to trade him. And like, that's not the case. Plus, this coming from guys who got traded multiple times in their careers and never had no trade clauses. Like,
it's part of business. It happens all the time.
The New Jersey Devils, they could have came with a deal where they said, okay, here's our offer. And then Calgary said, okay, we have to ask Markstrom to waive his no trade clause because we like that offer, but we can't accept it. And then they got Markstrom to say, yes, I will. And then they came back to New Jersey. Okay, we'll take that deal you said. He waived his no trade clause. Now it's out there in the media. And then New Jersey goes, actually, we change our deal. And then Calgary goes, no, we're not going to accept that deal. That's a lesser deal. Boom, falls apart. That easy. Like, what do these guys want them to do?
Like, how do you want to tiptoe around that to your goalie? They're coming at you like a human being. Like, what do you want them to, like, tiptoe around? You'd be like, hey, so, like, this team offered for you, but, like, would you be okay with it? Like, no. You're going to come to him like a man, ask him, like, hey, this is the direction we're going. This is what we were offered. Are you willing to waive your no-move clause? He said yes.
Yeah.
You as a player are willing to move on from this team. So it's either you go or Vladar goes. But they're obviously going to hear on offers for anybody, right? That's just what you do.
Yeah, and the fact that NHL Network was so aggressive, like Kevin Weeks just kept hitting, like, if you treat people bad in an organization, then good players aren't going to want to come there. Like, look at all the players they've lost. Like, first off, Conroy, this is his first year. He has everyone wanting to leave because of the Tree Living era. And now they're talking about being a bad organization led by this management. Like, this guy is doing the best he can. And yes, I will absolutely bash the fact that he's not getting the value for his trades, for sure. No doubt about it. That's fine. That's understandable. But you can't say he's not doing what these players are giving him. Toffoli asked out, gone immediately. Lindholm, as soon as he said, I'm out, same as Zadorov, boom, gone. Markstrom, 50-50. Are we going to keep him? Are we going to sell him? Hey, are you okay if we trade you? Yes, I'm okay if you trade me. Okay, it didn't work out. Fair enough.
And we're still willing to fucking keep you.
Exactly. And Hanifin, it's like, same thing. It's like,
where's the heat on New Jersey right now? Why was there no shade thrown at New Jersey too? They were the ones that backed out of the deal and gave them Calgary a shitty offer. So they basically came back to Calgary and said, okay, we're going to slew foot you and give you a shittier deal just because now he's waiving his new move or no move clause for us. Like, if anything, that should be looked bad on New Jersey's part, is because now they're trying to scam Calgary, and yet they're getting no shade, no heat, no nothing from NHL Network. Like, don't even come at Calgary with that bad management bullshit.
And now you look at the two trades that have happened since that have involved New Jersey. Number one, New Jersey needed a defender. They've been looking at Noah Hannafin. They literally acquired Chris Tanev just to retain 25% of his contract to move him on. So they ate money on a guy that they needed that they didn't get. And now they just added McDermott and took his whole $1 million contract on. Yes, I read they have so much LTIR space, it doesn't matter yet. If they have all this cap that they're talking about, what was keeping $2 to $3 million a year extra of Markstrom's contract versus not? Like, I don't understand their thought process here. They make no sense.
Well, I mean, this also kind of goes to show that you can't please the people. If Calgary does nothing, they're going to get toasted for it because they didn't do anything. Yep. If they do something, they're going to get toasted for it because poor management.
Yep.
Like, what do you want them to do? They already salary cap strapped themselves with at least 3 players, with Kadri, Huberdeau, and Weegar.
Yep.
And they have to do what they have to do to stay, somewhat relevant, and not start from the bottom again. So I don't know.
That's why I feel like a strong belief in restructured yearly contracts should be a thing, because when you're stuck with a guy like that, and there's a poor performance the next year, and you're stuck at $7-8 million for him, like, that just goes to show that no one's going to want to accept a deal for him because he's playing like ass, and no one's going to want to accept his poor performance. Like, and then you're stuck with that salary. So
see, there should be restructurable contracts. If you look at your team and you're like, boys, you want to win, and they all go, yeah. Okay, then how about some of you take a pay cut so we can build this team better?
yeah, definitely with some restrictions. Like, don't get everyone paying like, league minimum with all these superstars, but like at least trim it down like by $1 million for for certain guys, right? Like,
and that's where we've talked about in the past too, where it should be performance based. Your maximum
for
salary
sure
versus your minimum, and then it should be the team. Here's the thing: it should be at the end of the year. Like, yes, I like kind of the day-to-day cap, but okay, you have 104 million, let's say, for the cap. I know that's over what they have now. If at the end of the year your bonused out players and everything went over 104 million, you lose or get fined, or lose a draft pick, or you can't, then you are forced to not be able to resign, like you lose cap in the next season, like some kind of a penalty like that would help this situation where, yeah, like Eunice Corpusalo makes $5 million by 5 years, and now Ottawa's a dumpster fire, and they're like, what do we do for the next 4 years with Eunice Corpusalo? Like, stuff like that won't happen. And same with the Flames with their 10/8 for Huberdeau. Like, last year maybe he could have only been worth $5 million because he got half the points he did the year before. Like, they need to start doing more performance-based stuff, because this guaranteed money, like the NFL, like I don't know if I necessarily like the NFL, but it's like, okay, guy signs $110 million contract over 5 years or 3 years, whatever it is, and he gets $40 million guaranteed, and then if he gets cut, he doesn't get the other $60 million. Like, that type of stuff should be an option rather than this. But honestly, it's always said and it's always talked about, the NHLPA, the union, it's the strongest players association in all of major sports. They have the best deals for their players, 8-year guaranteed money contracts. Like, there's no way the PA changes any of this without like a 2-year lockout, being forced to not play, because they'll finally give in. But the owners are strapped. The players have all the say right now, and there's nothing they can do about it. All right, we're almost done our info dump here. Little more expansion news. It's noted that it's been quieter lately, but looks like there's continued progress towards Atlanta 3.0, and words of a proposed arena district seems to have a September-October timeline, and it seems like Utah will be team 33 and Atlanta will be team 34. So I am fired up. I hope Atlanta Thrashers come back. I'll say this every episode until it happens.
No.
Yeah, absolutely. That city has
Don't also
doubled.
don't also
Doubled
forget the
since
fact
we were
that
there.
Gary Bettman also reassured that the Jets weren't going anywhere anytime soon.
He did reassure
However,
against the owner.
Jesus Christ, why are we talking about Atlanta for a third time? Like, it's gonna literally float the same boat and sink like the same boat. Like, you already have the Braves. Okay, the Braves are a successful MLB franchise. You got the Atlanta Gladiators of the ECHL. Okay, they have their hockey. Okay, find a new market, find a new audience. Georgia isn't the greatest hockey state. Okay, they're known for football. They're known for their baseball. All right, hockey needs to find a new market. Quit with this Atlanta garbage. It never worked, and it probably won't. Watch, I'll guarantee you. I'll make another wager with you there, Riley. I will guarantee you that Atlanta will fail miserably again for the third time.
I don't know. I don't think so. The fact
It's
that
not a strong hockey market.
they've doubled in size in their city since the last time Atlanta played a game there. And again, what we kind of went over a couple episodes ago is the owners don't give a crap other than the fact that there's a billionaire saying, "Here's my money. I'm in." Like, at the end of the day, that's all that matters. The billionaire that wants a team just happens to be in Atlanta. It's not
But also,
it's not in Quebec City. It's not in Saskatoon or Regina. It's not. The billionaire is in Atlanta, and they want.
but you were just telling us that it was the owners that wanted out of Winnipeg, but then the league had to come in and say, "You guys are going nowhere."
Well, no, the league can't. If he sell it, well, here's the thing: he can put the
He can
team
sell
up
his
for
team,
sale.
but they'll probably stay put.
The relocation has to be accepted by the league, yes, but he can put his team up for sale, and he can get out if he doesn't think that the Jets are making enough money. And he's just letting the fan base know that no, it's been a good 13-year run, but if they keep not showing up, even when the team's doing good, he's not as invested, which makes sense. But I'm pumped. I've like I said multiple times, Atlanta was one of my favorite teams growing up, and I hope that the Thrashers come back, and it would just be fun to see. And that's what I want. I want the Thrashers back. But Utah, I hope they are 33rd. Bringing in Utah right away, getting them in the next.
I would love a Utah team.
It'll be cool. Salt Lake City.
Salt Lake is also in talks for even an MLB franchise. So think if you put two and two together, the two of them coming in at the same time would be perfect.
Damn,
Sports is already booming there.
Yep. Well, everyone kind of realized with Vegas when there was a completely untapped market and then all the sports franchises went there, it boomed, right? Everyone made tons of money. And now they're all looking like, what's the next city that we can all put a franchise in that's going to go crazy? Because now that the Oakland A's are officially next year, or is it this year? I guess this year they're in Vegas, aren't they?
Yeah.
So now that they're, what are they? Are they the Athletics still? Are they the Las Vegas
Yep.
Athletics? So now
Yeah, just the name. They didn't really rebrand.
So now it's just the NBA. The NBA is the only one not there, and they will be soon enough, I'm sure. But they have the Utah Jazz. So now everyone's looking at, okay, what NBA team is doing good that we don't have any markets in? Okay, Salt Lake City, Utah. Boom. Here we go.
There was a wild report that I saw online that the reason why the NFL hasn't really tapped into the Utah market is because there's a high, dense, populated Mormon community in Utah. And what happens on Sundays? Usually NFL football and church. So the two wouldn't really mix, right? The viewers wouldn't really come to the games very much on a Sunday game. So
Actually, no. Hold up. Hold your thought. A Utah church just approved I think a hockey or a football thing going to Utah.
yeah, the Christ of Latter-day Saints. I did see that. Yeah.
But here,
Yeah.
I'll just counter you about the Christian thing or the church thing. Is there a more devoted Christian part of America than deep Southeast? Look at those teams. We got Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We got Jacksonville Jaguars. We got Miami Dolphins, Atlanta Falcons, New Orleans Saints. Like, those are heavy, heavy states that go to church on Sundays. And they are some of the best attended sporting events in the NFL. So I don't think it'll be a problem because if we're being honest, like whether you're Christian or not, we're not getting into that discussion. But those numbers are down of people who go to church. So I don't think it would be an issue if you move into a community that has 2 million people. When you're talking about filling, a 30,000 person arena, 20,000 person arena, you're not too worried about actually filling that because you're not taking that much of the population.
I mean,
out.
also
You'll still get seats.
Church is over at like 12 or 1 in the afternoon there, Dally.
Well, no.
Games are
This
at
isn't.
night.
These aren't my opinion. It was just a tweet I saw on Twitter. It was like, well, how does that make sense? Because you just made a great point. So I was just reiterating what they were saying. But I'm like, that can't really determine why you can't have an NFL team there too, because of on Sundays you have church,
Mm-hmm.
right? When usually NFL games are either midday or at night. So,
Yeah, which is true. Absolutely.
but when they want an MLB and NHL franchise, why not an NFL as well?
Might as well. All right, we're going to jump into some CHL statistical news, and then we're getting on to our segments here. So we have Gavin McKenna. Obviously, everyone knows him. They want to use the hype words. Cousin of Connor Bedard. Bedard's 16-year-old cousin, this says, has 83 points in 52 WHL games. So yes, as a 16-year-old, he is unreal. There's no doubt about it. I kind of feel bad for him and Bedard that they are being so closely tied together. Like, he's always Bedard's cousin. He's not just Gavin McKenna because they didn't really grow up in the same area. Like, they were kind of separate. It's not like they practiced every day together growing up. So, I hope this kid gets his own spotlight, but 83 points in 52 games is awesome. You love to see that, especially from a 16-year-old who started the year as a 15-year-old. And then in the OHL, we have Zane Parekh. He became the second draft-eligible defenseman to score 30 goals in OHL history. He scored 2 tonight, including an overtime winner. So this kid's a stud. There's a reason he's going like 12th overall in most mock drafts, 9th overall in some I've seen. He can skate. He's got smart abilities. He's good on both ends of the ice, but he is still an offensive machine. So who knows what the future holds for him, but 30 goals in his draft-eligible year as a 17-year-old is absolutely astonishing. So,
He's already got 80-plus points this year.
that's wild. Him and McKenna, even though McKenna's 2 years younger, or 1 year younger, I guess, whatever it is, but still, that's just crazy.
Well, it would be 2 years younger. McKenna's 26 draft. Parekh
Right.
is this year now. Yeah.
You're right. Okay, let's jump into our game day reviews. This is where we put 3 teams into a randomizer. We've already covered every team once, but we're now in the second half of the year, so we're doing a second take here. So Dallas, you have the New Jersey Devils. Dakota, you have the Columbus Blue Jackets, and I have the Vegas Golden Knights. So go ahead, whoever wants to start.
I'll make it short and sweet. New Jersey, they kicked off a fantastic stadium series, close to the anniversary of the first one back in 2014. East Rutherford, MetLife Stadium, big capacity, great crowds. They kicked off a great event for the stadium series. They thrashed the Philly Flyers, so I was happy about that. Not a Devils fan, but I'm glad anytime Philly can lose. Lindy Ruff, he's not doing too bad as a head coach, but they're having one of the more disappointing starts to the year. Well, not just start, but entirety. They're in line with Pittsburgh for 1 and 2. I don't know who's having a worse year, but they got to get their crap together if they want to make a solid playoff push like they did last year. If not, then it's basically back to the bottom of the Metro for you boys.
You can go ahead if you want, Dak. You got anything?
All right. For his team or mine?
Whatever. If you want New Jersey or Columbus, either one.
Yeah, really the only thing I got to say for New Jersey is look out for them come trade deadline day if they are looking for that goalie or defenseman. Jack Hughes needs to stay healthy for this team to be competitive.
And he got steamrolled tonight. I don't know if you saw that. Gudis pummeled him. Curtis Lazar.
Radko Gudis. Let's
Curtis
go.
Lazar dropped the gloves with Radko Gudis. They kind of just scrummed and fell to the ice, but big props to Lazar. I will throw that out there for sticking up for Hughes.
Columbus, though, garbage, for one. We talked last episode about Buddy getting the boot, the GM there. Yeah. Which they definitely needed. They need to start playing their young guys. This is a team that has exciting young guys to watch, so it's crazy to see that they're not playing them.
I did see Kent Johnson is goalless in 19 straight games, though. That's tough.
That's a sin. That's crazy.
That's tough. But, I mean, their young guys are also the flashy kind of guys, though, too, you know? Like, they're the Zegras, the guys that are going for the Michigan goals, you know? But
yep.
I think give it 1-2 years. I hope this team has their stuff figured out because they do have a good team and they should be an exciting team to be watching, but they're not. And they are garbage this year.
Yeah, the East is going to flip. Pittsburgh, Washington, Boston, Tampa. That's going to be the bottom of the division. And the Blue Jackets, the Devils, the Sabres, the Senators, hopefully the Sabres and the Senators, the Red Wings, those are going to be the teams that kind of flip to the top of the division here in the next couple of years. Because
yeah, but I feel like Buffalo, though, you keep mentioning the Sabres. Like, they keep saying that with all these, like, young talent to keep getting in the top 5 in the NHL draft. Like, they keep saying, oh, yeah, with so-and-so now, we're going to be so elite. Guys, you're still mid-tier, if not bottom. Like, how many years of top 5, top 10 picks in talent are you guys going to need to get your ass in gear and win a goddamn division? Or hell, even make a playoff run? You know?
Will they get a goalie? They might have Devin Levi, but he was not ready for what they needed him to be this year, and that's not fair on him at all. Like, I'm not even saying it. He wasn't ready as a negative. Like, he's a kid fresh out of college. Of course he wasn't ready. It's the NHL. So, but they need to Ben Bishop, Andre Vasilevsky him. Like, he needs someone in front of him who's like, yeah, I seriously think the Buffalo Sabres should chase after Marc-Andre Fleury this year. For him, right? 1 to 2 years.
I think Minnesota came out today and said publicly they're not going to trade him.
Well, if he doesn't retire, I mean free agency, and if not him, then I don't know. What did Jonathan Quick sign? A 1 year? Maybe signed a 2 year. Quick's probably staying in New York though. But like, you know, there's goalies in this league that are ready to be backups, really good backups, or starting and then transition to backup for a young kid to take over, and that's what Buffalo needs. Because Levi will be a top 5 goaltender in the league when it's all said and done in terms of like when he's playing in his prime. But right now, he just needs to refine his game, I think. But I'll jump into Vegas. I mean, same old, same old. Mark Stone's on long-term injury reserve. They're going to trade for some wild, good player right away. You know, Stone, they're saying may miss
probably Gensel.
Time. Could be Gensel, literally. Like, that's a team.
I did see a report today that Gensel is on Vegas's radar now, so we'll see.
If they get Gensel, then you can't name a team that has done bigger trades than them. Eichel, Pietrangelo, that was free agency. Mark Stone. If they add Gensel, like, they will be the team that trades better than anyone else. So Vegas, what do? They gamble hard, and they usually collect on those. All right, well, let's get into our Battle of the Tarps segment here. We have in our randomizer home jersey from the KHL, Kunlun Red Star from China, and we have the home from the Ice Hockey League Vienna jersey. So I did text that to the chat. I don't know if you can see that, Dallas. You might not be able to because you're on your phone. But the Red Star jersey is obviously all red. It has white shoulders, white stripes with yellow on the exterior of those stripes, and then a black kind of secondary level of stripe. Very nice logo. It's a red star, but it has a golden dragon around it with golden letters of Red Star Kunlun in the middle of it. And then they're battling Vienna, they're called the Capitals, and they have a pretty awesome jersey makeup. It's like a orange cyclone, and those are mirrored on the arms in like the armpit and down the side. And then the top of the shoulders is white with some blue on the end of the arms and blue in the base. And then some advertisement logos. But overall, two great jerseys, two good logos. And yeah, boys, tell me your thoughts. What are you thinking on these two jerseys?
Vienna for me.
Nothing deeper? No deeper thought?
I mean, they're both very flashy colored jerseys, but they're not going to really stand out like we've been over and over with the European jerseys. So to me, they all kind of are the same resemblance, but for me, a clear-cut winner would be Vienna. There's nothing that really sells them apart for me except for their wacky logos and maybe a few advertisements here and there, but I'm just going to stick with Vienna.
I'll probably also choose Vienna. I like the fire-ish type of flare that they have under the armpits and the arm and the side of the body, but
I honestly want to call it like a Beyblade. For those who know those toys, like that's what it looks like. Is that kind of a kid's toy?
Well, the Cincinnati Cyclones do have almost the same thing too.
Very similar.
Their logo.
But yeah, for me, I'm going to go with them as well. I think it's creative. Going under the arm, no one ever goes under the arm with their jerseys. It's always on the top, on the outside, or on the front. And I think it's cool. I think it's cool that they did something different, and I think it looks really nice. And not to take away from Kunlun, because I think it's a pretty clean jersey. I like their logo as well. But yeah, it's just pretty basic overall. Outside of the logo, it's just normal striping, nothing really accentuated. I don't really like either that the yellow on their jersey doesn't match the gold in the logo. That doesn't really track too well for me. If you're going to have your logo color be a yellow, but it's kind of goldish, then you should probably make your stripes that same goldish, in my opinion. But, I'm not a professional jersey designer, but that's just my thought. So that was our last round robin Battle of the Tarps of February. So we'll put that up on social media for you guys to vote on. We had our episode 24 winner, the Vancouver Canucks alternate black jersey with the yellow skate going across it. And then we already have one team advancing to the February final, and that is ILF. So whoever wins the semifinal next episode between either Vienna or Kunlun versus Vancouver, alternate will play versus Ilves in the February Tarp Battle of the Tarps February final. So that's everything for episode 25 of Gameday Tarps podcast. As always, thank you everyone for listening. Follow us on all social medias. Watch this video on YouTube. See the photos we're adding for context, and have a great night.